When I first started trying to lose fat, there were so many things that nobody told me. I thought the secret was starving myself and doing endless hours of cardio, but that mindset kept me stuck for years. After finally figuring it out, I lost 70 pounds of fat whilst building 8 pounds of muscle, and along the way I learned a few things that completely changed my perspective on fat loss. If I had known the 5 things I'm about to share with you in this video, I would have lost fat so much faster, with way less frustration, and the whole process would have been 10 times smoother. Now, the first thing that I wish I knew is that less is more when it comes to your training. When I first started trying to lose fat, like most people, I thought that doing more training, more sets, more reps, more cardio meant better results. The reality is though, you don't need to be spending more than 3 hours a week in the gym to see amazing results. Your aim with your training shouldn't be to burn as many calories as humanly possible. It should be to send the right signals to your body so that it retains or even builds muscle mass and focuses its efforts on burning fat. And what you actually need to do in order to achieve that is 3 to 4 efficient, focused training sessions where your main priority is to get stronger each week. I can promise you for 99% of people, you will build more muscle and lose more fat by training less. And if you don't believe me, let me show you this. This was me the day I decided I'm going to start losing fat. And this was me 1 year later. But why did I barely make any progress at all? Let me show you what I was doing. I was going to the gym 6 days a week and doing 2-hour sessions. On top of that, I was doing cardio, and that was leaving me with absolutely zero energy to do anything else throughout the rest of my days. Doing that amount of activity was leaving me absolutely starving. And in my mind, I convinced myself, well, I'm doing all that activity, so surely I deserve to eat a bunch of food. But at the time, what I didn't realize is that it's way easier to consume less calories than it is to burn them off. So a lot of the time, I wasn't even in a deficit. But even worse than that, when you're in a calorie deficit, your body has a harder time recovering between sessions. And if you're training too often, you aren't recovering at all. And what you have to realize is rest is where muscle is built. So by overtraining, you are literally ensuring that you don't build muscle, hence why I look like I'd spent an entire year doing nothing. Over the next 12 months, I completely changed my approach. I started doing 4 sessions a week for around 50 minutes with no added cardio on top, bar 10,000 steps a day. And look at the progress I made in those next 12 months. And you know why? Because I was actually able to stick to that kind of program. I wasn't burning myself out. I was getting stronger every single week and I was recovering properly. So my body responded, it burnt fat and it built muscle at the same time. So look, keep things simple. Don't be spending hours in the gym for 4, 5 or 6 days a week. Spend a maximum of 1 hour in the gym and do 3 or 4 sessions a week. I can assure you that by doing more, you are not making more progress. And if anything, you are making less progress. And I've just shown you that to be a fact. And by the way, if you have absolutely no idea what training plan to follow, click the second link in the description of this video and you can get my free fat loss Kickstarter blueprint that amongst other things contains a training plan that I still use to this day, as well as macro friendly recipes. Again, that's for free. So make sure you go and grab that straight after this video. Now, the second thing that I wish I knew was that your diet can actually be enjoyable. Back when I looked like that, I just assumed you have to eat clean and healthy in order to lose fat. And my social media was packed full of guys telling me that you have to eat just chicken and rice, or you have to do crazy diets like keto or carnivore in order to lose fat. So it convinced me, okay, right, I have to eat a diet I don't enjoy and I have to suffer and then I'll get the results that I want. Now, whilst yes, technically some of those clean diets did give me some progress, I lost a little bit of fat. Eventually what would happen every single time is my cravings would go out of control because I was restricting myself from entire food groups and completely banning myself from foods that I loved. So eventually I wouldn't be able to take it anymore. I would quit, I would binge eat, and I would undo weeks worth of progress in a weekend. And I used to sit there and literally hate myself, asking myself, why can't I stick to these diets? And I was stuck in that cycle for years, trying and failing, different fad diets over and over again. And the worst part about those kind of diets is they give you this mentality that certain foods are good and certain foods are bad. That is literally the worst possible mindset you can have towards food and dieting. And in many cases, it leads to eating disorders. Look, let me make something clear to you. There's no good and bad foods. There's no evil foods. None of them are out to get you. It's literally just food. Eventually, I took the time to really learn about nutrition and dieting. And I slowly began to realize that it isn't the purest, cleanest foods from some organic soil from some faraway land that's going to cause you to lose fat. It's about foods that you can actually enjoy eating and that fit your calorie and macro targets. And that's when everything changed for me. I started to put together my own low calorie, high protein recipes. We're talking cookies, tiramisus, burgers, baked oats, foods that I love, but just with higher protein and lower calories. I lost fat way faster and way more sustainably that way because I was no longer restricting myself from the foods that I enjoyed. And 90% of the time, I didn't even realize that I was in a calorie deficit. And that is what you need to do if you want to truly lose fat, but more importantly, keep it off for the rest of your life. You have to stop treating dieting like it's some kind of punishment. Because look, even if you manage to lose some fat, you are never ever going to be able to keep it off for the rest of your life because you're not going to be able to stick to a diet that you don't enjoy for the rest of your life. At the end of the day, the best diet is the one that you enjoy, that's sustainable for you and brings you to your desired results. So stop listening to the shit peddling morons online telling you to eat nothing but steak and eggs because you do not need to do that. You don't. Now the third thing is something you will never understand until you experience it firsthand, and it's people will try to slow you down. When you start losing fat and making progress, you would think the people closest to you and the people around you would cheer you on, right? Well, unfortunately, that's not always the case. And most of the time, they actually make you feel really uncomfortable. Now, this will come in two ways. Firstly, the subtle way, where you'll hear things like, why are you still on that diet? You look fine. Or don't you think you've lost enough fat now? And then there's the obvious comments. It's just a couple drinks, come on. Have a dessert, man. Why are you being so boring? My personal favorite comment that I ever got was, why would you want to restrict yourself, man? You only have one life, enjoy it. Yes, you're right, I only have one life, so surely I want to look and feel my best during my time here. You have to understand this, it's not really about you, it's about them. Your progress threatens their comfort zone. If they manage to convince you to skip a workout, have some beers, or grab a pizza, it makes them feel better about their own lack of self-discipline and it validates their habits and their lifestyle. And that is why your environment is so fucking important. If you hang around with people who drink too much alcohol, eat too much food, and indulge in activities that don't contribute to bettering themselves, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to drag you down with them. Whereas if you hang around with people who are active, love to train, eat right, and treat their body with respect, what do you think is going to happen? Fat loss and getting in shape becomes 10 times easier. So when those comments start coming, don't take them personally. Take them as a sign that you're on the right path, because I promise you, 6 months down the line when you've transformed your body, the same people making those comments are going to be asking you, begging you for advice on how you did it. At the end of the day, you don't owe a single fucking person on this planet an explanation as to why you want to better yourself. If they can't respect it and they try and restrict you, tune them out. Set your boundaries and stick to them. It's your life, not theirs. Also, get around like-minded people who want to achieve what you've achieved, or even better, have achieved what you want to achieve, because it's those kinds of people who are going to propel you forward to your goals. The fourth thing that I wish I knew is that the scale will lie to you and it will mess with your head if you let it. Like most people trying to lose fat, I used to be absolutely obsessed with the number displayed on the scale, and my mood on any given day was entirely dependent on whether that number went up or down. If the number went down, I was the happiest person you have ever seen. But if the number stayed the same, or God forbid went up, I would literally feel like a complete failure and I would question everything. There were so many times over the course of 2 weeks, let's say, where I would lose around 4 pounds, and then over the next 4 or 5 days, the scale wouldn't move at all. And I would sit there and I would look in the mirror and I'd say to myself, this stuff isn't working, what is the point? But what I know now is that fat loss is never linear. Your weight will bounce around every single day for 1,000 different reasons. If you ate more carbs or sodium the day before, you will hold more water. A bad night's sleep or a stressful day at work increases cortisol, again making you hold more water. And those are just 2 examples. You have to zoom out and look at the overall picture. Are you losing fat on average over a week or a monthly period? Because that's what matters, not daily fluctuations. Also, please take progress pictures every single week, because I don't know about you, but I care way more about how I look than a number on a fucking scale. So stop obsessing over those daily fluctuations. The scale is one of the most important tools we have, but don't let it dictate how you feel. Don't let it gauge how much progress you're making on a day-to-day basis. But most importantly, don't let it define who the fuck you are. Stick it out, trust the process, and eventually you won't even care what the number says because you will look and feel amazing. The 5th thing I wish I knew before losing 70 pounds was to stop chasing perfection and chase consistency. When I first started dieting, I genuinely believed wholeheartedly that I had to be perfect in order to see the results that I wanted. So I set myself ridiculous rules like no sugar, no carbs, and no eating after 4 p.m. And you know what happened over and over again? Maybe for a week I would follow that perfect plan and follow those rules, and eventually I would not be able to take it anymore and I would break. And then I would feel like a complete failure and I would throw away everything because I made one slip up. And that is the problem that perfection creates. Eventually I finally realized that perfection is a trap that literally sets you up for failure, because no one, and I mean no one on this planet, can be perfect 100% of the time. Life gets in the way sometimes, work gets busy, you have a family emergency, you get sick, whatever it is, things happen in this life that push you off course sometimes. And if you keep trying to be perfect, every slip up feels like a failure, and failure leads to giving up. Fat loss isn't about perfection. If you get your steps in, hit your calorie target, and do your training sessions 80 to 90% of the time for a long enough period of time, you are going to see the results that you want. Think about it like this: if you're consistent 80 to 90% of the time for a 6-month period, what results are you going to see? You're going to see amazing results. Whereas if you're perfect for 2 weeks and then do nothing for 2 weeks, you are literally going to make zero progress. You have to rewire your brain. Let's say you go out tonight for dinner and have a few too many calories. You shouldn't fucking care. You just move on and get back on the horse tomorrow, because that is how you're going to lose fat and keep it off for the rest of your life. Seriously, drop the all or nothing mentality right now. I'm speaking from experience here. If you keep having that mindset, it's going to keep you stuck for a very, very long time. So look, that's 5 things I wish I knew sooner. And if I knew them sooner, I would have lost 70 pounds much faster. So rewatch this video if you need to. Listen to my words, draw them into your brain, and you will transform much sooner than you think. And if you want my help making that transformation, go ahead and click the first link in the description, book a call with me, and we'll have a half-an-hour chat to see if you're the right fit for coaching. Other than that, I hope this video helps. If it did, leave it a like, share it with a friend, preferably a fat one, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.